Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Snakebite. We have a ton to cover from men's basketball to the swim national championships and everything between. Let's roll that intro. The men's basketball team season has come to a close with a loss in the second round of the regional to the number 3 team in the country and second seed in the South region, the University of Alabama-Huntsville. Before their loss to the Chargers, we saw them squeak out a win against the University of Montevallo in a down-to-the-wire 86-83 win over the Falcons, where the Mocs survived despite woes from the free throw line. In the win over the Falcons, the Mocs leaned heavily on one of the most versatile players in all of Division II hoops, 𝙏𝙃𝙀 who helped will the team to a win thanks to his 15 points and team-leading numbers in rebounds with 11, assists with 4, and blocks and steals where he had 3 apiece. 𝙏𝙀 IV also played a huge role like he always does, scoring 17 points on incredibly efficient shooting, going 7 for 11 from the field and 3 for 4 from 3, hitting big shots and getting big rebounds like he always has in the clutch for the Mocs. Going into the second game of the regional, the Mocs looked to regroup as they were taking on a very strong Huntsville team that came into the game on the longest win streak in the NCAA, having won 31 straight games following an overtime loss to Nova Southeastern, the number 1 team in the country at the time, in their first game of the season. Against Huntsville, the Mocs leaned heavily on Dominic Denny, who scored a career high of 20 first-half points, but the Mocs, due to a lack of offense from other sources, still found themselves down 46-32. In the second half, Jaden Booth and 𝙏𝙃𝙀 both showed up big, helping the Mocs outscore the Chargers 54-51 in the second half, but ultimately fell 97-86. This season, we saw many milestones for the Mocs and their players. Individually, we saw Dominic Denny, Jaden Booth, and Alex Steen reach 1,000 points in their careers at FSC, with 𝙏𝙃𝙀 also reaching 1,000 total points in his career, including his time at Catawba. We also saw Dominic Denny become one of 6 Mocs ever to reach 1,000 career points and 400 assists in a career at Florida Southern, just falling 5 assists shy of joining 3 other Mocs to ever achieve 1,000 points and 500 assists in a career. Jaden Booth joined a similar club, becoming one of 9 Mocs with 1,000 points and 300 assists at Florida Southern. He also became the school record holder for best free throw percentage in a season, shooting 92.6% from the charity stripe and shattering the previous record of 90.8% of Jonathan Lawton. Booth also bested the previous career free throw percentage mark held by Seth Evans, who shot 89.1% over his career, with Booth having a career free throw percentage at 90.1 here at Florida Southern, the only Moc to be at 90 or above. Alex Steen, a junior this season, was also selected to the All-SSC first team with Booth and named SSC Defensive Player of the Year, with PG joining him on the All-Defensive team. This season ended with the Mocs posting their most wins in a season, with 26 since the 1920 season, when the Mocs were the number 1 team going into the regional, the SSC champs, but the season was cut short due to the pandemic. Departing with the season this year are seniors Dominic Denny, 𝙏𝙀 IV, 𝙏𝙃𝙀, Christian Fairbergs, and Trey Jones. The Mocs have the chance to retain star players in Jaden Booth and Alex Steen next season and will look to make major additions in the portal, with half of the players that have appeared in every game and half of those who have averaged 10-plus minutes a game graduating and out of eligibility.
The number 7 baseball team traveled to St. Pete to take on Eckerd College in an SSC weekend matchup. The Mocs won the Friday night game thanks to ace 𝙏𝙃𝙀 Ramos throwing 7 innings of shutout baseball as he only gave up 1 hit, earning himself his first SSC Pitcher of the Week award. 𝙏𝙃𝙀's stellar pitching helped the Mocs jump out to a 10-0 lead. The final score of Friday's game was 10-3 Mocs. In the first game of Saturday's doubleheader, Eckerd got out to an early 4-0 lead and never gave it back. The Mocs would drop this one 6-3. The baseball team would come back with a vengeance in the afternoon game as they scored 4 runs in each of the first 3 innings to fuel a blowout victory for the Mocs, with the final score of 13-4. The baseball team is hoping the momentum from the series win will help them take on head coach Rick Odette's former team tonight in a midweek matchup against St. Leo.
The women's softball team continued an onslaught of games this past week, with multiple teams coming down here for spring break. The first of the 2 series was against a Hillsdale College team coming in on a 4-game win streak. In the first game of the series, it was a pitcher's duel like we saw throughout this past week, with each side finishing the first 7 innings runless, pushing the game to extras, where Hillsdale found an early hit to pair with solid base running and some sacrifice hits to score the lone run of the game to win 1-0. In the second game, pitching remained a major factor, with the Mocs allowing just 2 earned runs, but the bats got going for the Mocs in the second half of the game, scoring 3 runs in the 4th and 2 runs in the 6th to take a 5-4 win thanks to big hits and plays from the Mocs outfield, with Kate Michael finding a run to pair with Kat Buckner's 2 RBIs and Gabby Young's lead-taking and game-winning RBI in the 6th. The Mocs returned to SSC play Friday and Saturday in a 3-game series versus Eckerd, where the Mocs saw a strong performance after strong performance from the bullpen. In the opening game of the series, 𝙏𝙃𝙀 looked fantastic through 6 before Lieberman came on in relief in the 7th to secure a 7-6 win in a game defined by fielding errors, this time favoring the Mocs. Unfortunately, in the next 2, Florida Southern wouldn't be able to find similar offensive success, getting shut out in the 4-0 loss in the second game and falling 2-1 in extras in the 3rd game because of a late offensive surge by the Tritons. Florida Southern has a much-needed break from action currently, as they'll be returning to play the 25th against West Florida in their final non-conference series of the season.
The number 2 women's lacrosse team continued their winning ways with 2 wins over the past week, improving to 9-0. The entire team got involved in the 19-6 win over the Alabama Huntsville Chargers, with 10 different Mocs getting on the scoreboard. Leading the way was no one other than Gianna Murphy, who scored 5 goals in the win. Abby McFerrin was the leading point producer with 2 goals and 5 assists, and Maria Reeves controlled the face-off circle, winning 14 controls, tying the 2nd most in a single game in Mocs history. Number 2 Pace University came to town looking to remain undefeated, but the Mocs had other ideas. Gianna Murphy and Abby McFerrin, leading the offensive charge, scored 5 goals each as they contributed on more than half of the Mocs scoring combined. Remember that record that Maria Reeves tied in the previous matchup? Well, she shattered it, winning 18 draws, setting a career high while also tying the Florida Southern program record held by FSC great Danny Bursinger. After 2 strong performances, Reeves was awarded SSC Defensive Player of the Week. Goalie Riley Rittberg secured her 9th win of the season and the 2011 win over, at the time, number 2 Pace University. The Mocs will take on number 23 Mercy University tomorrow night at home as they look to continue their dominant 2025 campaign. Check fscmocs.com for live stats or tune in to the SSC Digital Network for live coverage.
Gavin, last week you mentioned you need points to win games, and man, did the men's lacrosse team find some points against the undefeated number 13 Colorado Mesa team, and they did that on senior night, putting 15 on their head with Nolan Tithe leading the charge from the jump, securing a hat trick in the early minutes of the game in his 5-goal outing, where the Mocs defined the game with their defense as well. Carson Corona was a major contributor to the win, causing the 3rd most turnovers ever by an SSC player in one game, with 7, more than earning him SSC Defensive Player of the Week. Michael Simone also didn't miss out on the fun either, accumulating 10 saves to help secure the 15-8 victory for the Mocs. With a big win under their belt, the Mocs will look to take down SSC opponent and number 16 team in the country, St. Leo University, on March 22nd at Barron Field. Make sure to show up and show out for the Mocs. The results will be on fscmocs.com, and you can watch on the SSC Digital Network.
The women's tennis team continued their winning ways, getting their 9th win in a row. The success kept rolling for the Mocs with the sweep against Bucknell University during our airtime last week. Following the sweep, Thomas Jefferson University came to town, and safe to say they wish they stayed in Pennsylvania, as they fell 7-0 in the 2nd consecutive sweep for the Mocs. The week then closed out with a 6-1 win against Slippery Rock University. The Mocs will return to conference play for the final 6 matches of the season, starting with the University of Tampa on March 21st, followed by Palm Beach Atlantic on the 22nd. The number 27 men's tennis team saw similar success, going 3-0 last week, extending their win streak to 5. Emory University was the week's first matchup, and that one came down to the final court. After losing his first set, SSC Tennis Athlete of the Week, Chris Falcao, rallied back, winning the next 2 to secure a 4-3 win for the Mocs. The momentum carried into the match against Thomas Jefferson University as the Mocs won 6-1. The week's final match was against D1 Rider University, who the men continued to show out against, winning 6-1. The Mocs are back in action today as they take on Fordham University at the Winey Warden Courts. Come out and support the team or check FSC Mocs for results.
And the number 15 men's swim team headed to Indianapolis last week for the NCAA Division II Swimming National Championships, where they continued to rewrite the record books, starting off with the 200 medley relay team of Wilson, Vialon, Barczyk, and 𝙏𝙀, who broke their previous FSC record with a time of 1:24.87 on the first day of competition. The team didn't stop there as they competed in the 400 medley relay as well, setting another program and SSC record with a time of 3:08.54. After the team's successes, Wilson went on to break a 9-year-old program record in the 100 back with a time of 46.25. On the last day, records still had to be broken for the Mocs, with the 400 free relay team of Violon, 𝙏𝙀, 𝙏𝙃𝙀, and Wilson breaking the third program record of the week with a 2:54.34. The Mocs closed out their season with a number 10 placement at the NCAA Championships. The number 23 women's team also competed at the NCAA Championships this past week, with 5 swimmers being awarded All-American honors, with Brinton, Hoffman, McCallick, Miles, and Pelletier all receiving the award. For seniors Alizé, Pelletier, and Olivia Miles, this was their final meet as a Moc. Pelletier holds 4 program records and 4 All-American honors over her time at FSC. Miles rounds out her time as a Moc with 4 All-American honors as well and several NCAA championship appearances. The NCAA Championships was the final meet of the year for both swim teams, and the Mocs found a way to close out strong.
The beach volleyball team has had a busy past week competing both away and at home and finding a lot of success. Starting out last Friday, the Mocs traveled to St. Petersburg for the Triton Invite. Their first matchup was against St. Leo, who they defeated for the first time since 2021, 3-2, thanks to Haley Carefoot and Reagan Carlton winning the first and second sets to give the Mocs the win. On the next day of competition, the Mocs continued to find success, winning handedly 5-0 against Liberty University, and later in the day took on the 𝙏𝙀 Tritons, where they came out with a 3-2 victory thanks to 3 different pairs that rallied to secure the win. There was no rest for the weary as they returned to Lakeland the very next day to compete against Stevenson University. In this dual matchup, the Mocs were strong from the start, winning the first try match 4-1 and securing their success by dominating 5-0 in the second try match. The beach volleyball team will return to the sand during our production time down in Fort Myers to take on PBA as they hope to keep the winning streak alive. Be sure to check fscmocs.com for results.
The number 9 men's golf team traveled up to Valdosta this past week to participate in the first federal Southeastern Collegiate Tournament. The Mocs came in 5th out of 16 teams. Leading the way was Tyler Mistretta, again, who placed 4th overall by shooting a collective 6 under par on the tournament. The women's side also visited Melbourne to take place in the Space Coast Collegiate Championship. The number 27 ranked Mocs split into 2 teams, as the A group placed 7th out of 12, with the B group placing 12th. Both teams will be hosted by Barry University the next time they take action. The women will travel to Pembroke Pines, Florida on March 17th, while the men will pay their visit on March 31st. And that'll be it for this week's edition of the Snakebite. The track teams, you know we can't forget about them. They'll be heading up to Orlando to run at UCF. I'll be running with the 10K guys on Friday. The rest will be running on Saturday for Florida Southern. And we can't forget Jaden Booth. We already talked about him a lot, but he's in the top 25 for the Bevo Francis Award for the top non-Division I basketball player in the country. Very excited to see how far he advances in that awards race. And make sure to stay tuned because we'll keep you posted here on the Snakebite.